What is going on, guys? Unfortunately for NFL GMs, the draft doesn't consist of do-overs. Only in videos like this can you go back and take a do-over. It's obviously way too early to guess how the 2020 NFL draft prospects will pan out, but it's not too early to think of possible do-overs that teams would like to take, if given the opportunity. Here are 10 do-overs from the 2020 draft that would make perfect sense, based on what we've seen so far. Number 10, Denver Broncos take Chase Claypool over KJ Hamler. Drew Lock won 4 of 5 starts in his rookie season for the Denver Broncos, and John Elway was convinced that he finally had his new franchise quarterback. So Elway decided to load up on playmaking weapons for his young signal caller in the offseason. It started with the signing of free agent running back Melvin Gordon. Elway continued his mission at the draft, selecting Alabama wideout Jerry Jeudy with the number 15 selection. That still wasn't enough, so he drafted speedy Penn State wideout KJ Hamler with the number 46 selection in the second round. It's still early and all, but so far it's safe to say that Elway would like a mulligan on his pick. Hamler has been a non-factor in the Denver offense thus far, despite boasting a great set of wheels. Hamler hasn't been able to get himself open, and of course injuries along with the lackluster play from the many different Bronco quarterbacks really hasn't helped. Surely Elway would change the Hamler selection for Chase Claypool if he had the chance. The Notre Dame product was taken 3 spots after Hamler, 49th overall, by the Pittsburgh Steelers, and he's already displayed all the makings of a future star. I mean, look no further than the 4-touchdown performance he had in Week 5 against the Philadelphia Eagles. Claypool has supreme athleticism, and unlike Hamler, he's managed to consistently get open. Claypool and Jeudy, that would have been quite the dynamic rookie duo for Locke to work with. Number 9, Atlanta Falcons take Antoine Winfield Jr. over AJ Terrell. Then Atlanta Falcons GM Thomas Dimitroff had the right idea when he took Clemson corner AJ Terrell with the number 16 pick. The team desperately needed some help in the secondary, and Terrell had the skill set to make an immediate impact. But so far, not so great. The Falcons defense has been an absolute train wreck in 2020. Their 0-5 start prompted owner Arthur Blank to fire Dimitroff and head coach Dan Quinn. Most defensive backs struggled to adapt in their rookie season, which is understandable, but don't tell that to Antoine Winfield Jr., who has been a star for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers early on. Drafted 45th overall by the Bucs, Winfield has solidified a secondary that has been a weak link in Tampa for several years. He's displayed a superb football IQ and impressive ball hawking skills. And like fellow stud safety Jamal Adams, Winfield Jr. is often used to get after the quarterback. It doesn't help matters that Winfield Jr. plays in the NFC South, meaning he gets to face the Falcons twice a year. If Terrell doesn't pan out, the Falcons will have to consistently be reminded of this draft day error. There's still lots of time for Terrell to grow into a reliable starting corner, but right now, it's logical to think they'd take Winfield, if given another chance. Number 8, Miami Dolphins take Justin Herbert over Tua Tagovailoa. Everybody knew the Dolphins would take a quarterback with the number 5 pick. They took the highly touted Tua Tagovailoa, which allowed the Los Angeles Chargers to settle on Justin Herbert with the number 6 pick. Tagovailoa has a stronger skill set and more upside, but his health is unquestionably a concern. That's a key reason why Miami decided to roll with Ryan Fitzpatrick as their starter for 2020. An injury to Tyrod Taylor forced the Chargers to roll with Herbert early on, and all he's done is look like an absolute star in the making. This guy went toe-to-toe with Patrick Mahomes, Tom Brady, and Drew Brees for crying out loud. Too bad his defense kept blowing it for him. While Miami is unsure about playing Tua, Herbert is giving Chargers fans so much optimism for the future. Do the Dolphins wish they took Herbert instead? I mean, they might actually be a playoff contender with him right now. Again, it's very, very early, and Tua could very well be the best quarterback of the 2020 draft class. It's not crazy to think that the Dolphins would take Herbert in a redraft. Number 7, San Francisco 49ers take Jerry Jeudy over Javon Kinlaw, after trading superstar pass rusher DeForest Buckner to the Indianapolis Colts for their 2020 first-round selection. 49ers GM John Lynch had an easy and cheap solution in mind: draft Buckner's replacement. It made perfect sense on paper. The 49ers took South Carolina defensive tackle Javon Kinlaw with the number 14 selection, filling the gap on the defensive line that Buckner left behind. San Francisco still needed some wide receiving help after losing Emmanuel Sanders in free agency, however, so they traded up via the Minnesota Vikings and took Arizona State wideout Brandon Ayuk with a number 25 selection. At the time, this felt like a grade A performance by Lynch at the draft, but Kinlaw hasn't been much of a factor, and the 49ers passing game has been lackluster at best. What if Lynch was able to go back in time and fix this? The logical move would have been to take the aforementioned Jerry Jeudy at 14, which would have given them a future superstar to build around, and Jeudy would produce immediate results for the defending NFC champs. I mean, you'd have to think. By taking Jeudy with the number 14 pick, the 49ers would be set at the wideout position for years to come, and Lynch still could have traded up with Minnesota and addressed their front seven by taking taking someone like LSU linebacker Patrick Queen, who fell to the Ravens at 28. Lots of time for Kinlaw and Ayuk to break out as Pro Bowl talents. But in a do-over, Lynch's best bet would be to take Judy and Queen with those 2 first-rounders instead. Number 6, every team passing on James Robinson. Most drafts have at least 1 or 2 household names at running back who are can't-miss prospects. But the 2020 NFL Draft wasn't super kind to guys at the position. Clyde Edwards-Helaire, the number 32 selection by the Kansas City Chiefs, was the only back to go in round 1. In fact, only 3 running backs were taken in the top 51 selections. While the best running back of the 2020 rookie class so far was actually an undrafted product. His name? It's James Robinson. Before cutting ties with big-time draft bust Leonard Fournette, the Jacksonville Jaguars signed the Illinois State running back following the 2020 draft. And Robinson has been one of the few positives in another forgettable season in Duval County. Robinson is a workhorse running back who looks capable of becoming a consistent 1,000-yard rusher. The Jaguars will happily take that, given their struggles to find reliable offensive playmakers. Practically every team should be kicking themselves for passing on Robinson, especially teams like the Jets, Giants, Bears, and Falcons, all of whom are noticeably lacking in depth at the running back position. Number 5, Green Bay Packers take T. Higgins over Jordan Love. Despite winning 13 games en route to an NFC Championship game appearance in 2019, the Green Bay Packers offense never fully found its rhythm under first-year head coach Matt LaFleur. Aaron Rodgers clearly needed another reliable receiver to complement Devontae Adams. Unfortunately, the 2020 draft was loaded with can't-miss pass catchers. But the Packers pulled off the ultimate shocker of the draft when they traded up via the Miami Dolphins to select Utah State quarterback Jordan Love with the number 26 selection. Nobody else thought Love was a first-round talent, and nobody could believe that the Packers would take a QB, especially with Rodgers still in his prime and plenty of other positions needing to be addressed. Well, Rodgers has regained his MVP form in 2020, and it certainly looks like Love won't be seeing the field anytime soon. Not as long as A-Rod continues to play at his level. And so it's not too early to say the Packers would like a do-over here. I mean, maybe. They surely could have used Clemson wideout T. Higgins, who went to the Cincinnati Bengals at number 33 overall. Higgins has been a stud for fellow rookie Joe Burrow and the Bengals passing game. And this is despite splitting touches with the likes of AJ Green, Tyler Boyd, and Joe Mixon. Imagine if Higgins was in Green Bay. He'd be the number 2 receiver, no doubt. And he'd be a real threat to hit 1,000 plus yards. Green Bay's offense looks just fine and all, but Higgins could have taken this unit to a whole new level. What could have been? Number 4, Las Vegas Raiders take CeeDee Lamb over Henry Ruggs III. There were a trio of can't-miss wideouts in the star-studded 2020 class, headlined by Henry Ruggs, Jerry Jeudy, and CeeDee Lamb. You couldn't go wrong with either, and the scouts and analysts were divided when it came to ranking these 3 prospects. So far, all 3 guys have displayed signs of future stardom, but Lamb has been the best receiver among the trio by far. Ruggs missed weeks 3 and 4, but even when he's been on the field, the 12th overall pick hasn't done much outside of a couple long receptions. While Ruggs is more of a burner guy who can make the big play at any time, Lamb has enjoyed more consistent production with the Dallas Cowboys, who took him 17th overall. Lamb has to share the workload with a pair of stud wideouts in Amari Cooper and Michael Gallup, plus superstar running back Ezekiel Elliott, and yet he's on his way to a 1,000-yard season as a rookie. So yeah, we're confident in stating that the Raiders would have been better off, at least in 2020, taking Lamb over Ruggs. Long way to go though, don't forget that. Number 3, New York Giants take Makai Bechten over Andrew Thomas. The 2020 draft class included a plethora of great offensive tackles, and many teams just happened to have a young quarterback behind a horrible offensive line. So it's no wonder that so many of these guys went off the board early. The New York Giants took Andrew Thomas with the number 4 selection. He was the first of 6 offensive tackles to go in the first round. Now offensive linemen require plenty of time to develop and refine their skills. Most of them aren't Pro Bowl caliber in their rookie years. But while Thomas has endured the expected rookie learning curve, Makai Bechten, who went 11th overall to the New York Jets, has been a beast on a dismal football team. Bechten might be the best offensive lineman of the 2020 class. He's been much better as a pass protector for Sam Darnold compared to Thomas with Daniel Jones. And if the Giants had a redo, they'd surely get their hands on Bechten, who often looks like a seasoned veteran. Number 2, Miami Dolphins take Clyde Edwards-Helaire over Noah Igbinoghene. It was rather surprising to see Miami spend the number 30 pick on Noah Igbinoghene. That is so much fun to say, considering they already have 2 expensive Pro Bowl corners in Xavier Howard and Byron Jones. Sure enough, Igbinoghene has struggled in his rookie year, just like the majority cornerbacks do. And while Ryan Fitzpatrick has continued to prove he still has some magic left in him, Miami's rushing game has been lackluster at best. This team could have used the talents of Edwards-Helaire, who instead fell to the star-studded Kansas City Chiefs. CEH would have surely addressed Miami's long-term problems at running back, but they decided to address a position of strength by reaching for Igbinoghene. Number 1, Philadelphia Eagles take Justin Jefferson over Jalen Reagor. Most people knew the Eagles would take a wide receiver in the draft. Justin Jefferson to Philly was a common entry in countless mock drafts. But the Eagles went off the board and took TCU product Jalen Reagor with the number 21 selection. One pick later, Jefferson went to the Minnesota Vikings. A thumb injury, a lack of production, and poor play from Carson Wentz has led to a disappointing start for Reagor as a professional. Jefferson, meanwhile, has emerged as a star on an underachieving Minnesota team, helping them forget about Stephon Diggs rather quickly. Jefferson put the NFL on notice with 100-yard games in weeks 3 and 4 against Minnesota and Houston. He and Adam Thielen have formed a dynamic receiving duo, all while the Eagles try to find solutions to a sluggish offense which consists of little production from its deep group of pass catchers. Just imagine if the Eagles had Jefferson to help out Wentz. Maybe the Eagles wouldn't be in such a bind right now. You have to think this team would be in a much better position with Jefferson's talents, which leads us to believe that they would definitely take Double J in a draft day do-over. What other 2020 NFL draft day do-overs do you think teams would take right now? Join me in the comment section below. Make sure to follow myself and TPS on social media. We post great content all the time. Instagram, Twitter, TikTok, we are on everything. Go find us, go follow us. Yeah, go subscribe, go follow. Of course, subscribe to TPS. We post videos every day, and of course, like this video, it helps us out. Of course, thank you so much for watching. I'm Jason Biondo. I'll see you next time.